This show is brought to you by our friends at bayphoto.com. Head over after the show to print something amazing. Be sure to check out their specials at bayphoto.com/specials.
Hi, I'm Luke Ayers. Welcome to Africa. Let me give you a tip today on something interesting, very basic about photography, but which is going to clear a lot of BS in your mind, okay? Come over here. What we're talking about today is composition. Now, I know if you went to school, you would have heard your professors say, now composition is an extremely complicated thing where you must align your image within the lines, and it should be a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, and that's composition. That is utter BS, and forget what you've been told, okay? Composition, you break the word down, it breaks down into com and pose. Com means together, pose means to place. In photography, to get good photos, you use composition. And all composition is adding things into the picture that will push the message of the picture that you want, because a photo is a message. Just like when you read a book, you get a message from the story, all right? And so you include things, because photography doesn't use words, it uses imagery to push the message. You've got to put the right imagery into your photo if you want to get the right message across. If you're taking a photo of a truck, you need to include a truck. If otherwise you will not get the message of a truck. You get it? So composition is about what you include in your photo. And then once you've got what you want in your photo, the step 2 of it is you remove everything else, all distractions. You don't want some dude walking in the background if you're trying to photograph, this flower, because then the message would be kind of strange. It would be like, flower man? Flower man? No. For instance, flowers were the first thing that I ever photographed, okay? They are a great thing to practice on because they're beautiful and you can practice your composition with them, okay? Now grab yourself a camera, doesn't matter what you're using, this thing's 10 years old, it's brilliant, you don't need anything modern to take great photos if you know composition. That's why I talk so much about it's not about your equipment, it's about your skill. And your skill is this thing called composition. It's knowing what to include, what to not include, that makes a photo great. All right, I want to take a photo of this flower right here, this beautiful big thing, okay? All right, let's just take a shot here. If I just point the camera straight at it, take a shot, okay? That looks all right. Now, how can we improve this using composition? All right, another thing in composition you can use is lines. And what tends to look good is actually diagonal lines. Rather than verticals or horizontals, use diagonal lines to give the image more, I don't know what to call it, but it actually looks good to the eye. So take this flower, and let's just angle my camera a little bit, okay? To get some diagonals in there. Take that shot. Okay, now that looks a little more dynamic than before, all right? Maybe that was a bit too much of an angle, but if you notice to the eye, it looks a bit better. So diagonal lines is one of the tools of composition you can use. Another thing is camera settings. How many times do people ask, what camera settings do you use? Here's the answer. You use the camera settings that's going to aid your composition. Okay, so for this flower, for instance, I would not use necessarily a closed down aperture on this flower, because what happens is you start to see more rubbish in the background, and it's kind of like it messes up the message. The message I want is a beautiful soft flower. So naturally I would use a wide open aperture which defocuses all the background, okay? So take this shot again with a wide open aperture, and so it just isolates the flower, right? And so that softness is an element in your composition that pushes the idea beauty, because beauty in our minds tends to be related to soft. So add some softness into it, okay? Then you can play with just different angles, like what angle on this flower, and and what part of the image should it be, in your box to make it look most attractive, we want to give it that punch, all right? So, and this is how you practice. This is how you become good, just with practice and with using flowers. You just try different camera settings, different brightnesses, different angles, okay? And then you look through them all and you're just like, oh, which one's that? Blah, blah, blah. I'm a black and white guy. I like black and white a lot. I'm going to try some black and white because sometimes composition-wise, something can look at that. It can look more impactful in black and white. Okay? Color is a very advanced thing that if you don't understand how the colors work together, then your photos just tend to all look bad. All right? If you're starting out, shoot in black and white because it simplifies it. It simplifies it to just black and white. All right? So this is how you can practice, friends, all right? And you try different angles and you learn which angles look good, which angles don't look good. And then what you learn from this applies to everything. People, objects, landscapes. It's just take a flower, shoot it from as many different angles, and then once you've had some basic practice, start using the light more, which is what photography is really about, the light. Right now we're shooting at a time of day where it's sort of like at sunset, so the light around here is nice and soft, okay? I could take this same photo in the middle of the day when it's harsh sunlight, and it won't look as good composition-wise, because again, the hard sunlight of the midday does not give that message of softness. So these are all the pieces that you put into making a good photo, and it all comes under the heading of composition. I hope this helps.
Please subscribe and enable the bell so you don't miss any of our new shows. Like the video and please share it and leave your comments. I love hearing from you. And remember to get out and capture your own images of life.